I want to tell you all that I was in this class when it was first being introduced to the university. There were 25 of us. We stood around in a circle, or we sat around in a circle. And it's amazing to me that this is where this class is now. It's a real paradigm shift. It indicates something big that's happening for a class like this to start off with the breath and to be paying attention to the things that we're paying attention to in this class. It's radical for this to be happening at a major research institution. So you're part of a wave here that some of you might wonder if health does in fact play a role in sustainable living, and if it does, how? There are a number of levels to this answer, and I'm only going to touch on a few in my lecture today, but it is my experience and my firm belief that holistic health is in fact fundamental to sustainability. Since sustainability rests on the proposition of holism, that this interconnection of things, that we're all interconnected, it serves to reason that since we're part of this larger living system, our own health and the behaviors that we do to either protect or harm our health affect other actions towards sustainability that we might engage in. Now, I know that you're already acquainted with the concepts of holism, so I'm just going to be expanding on that in the areas particularly around self-care and personal health. And if we have time, we can talk a little bit about potential career way to see the relationship between holistic health and sustainability is to become aware of working with your own energy, with what your body needs at any given moment. What do you need to eat? What do you need to sleep? What supports your own well-being and health? What do you do that detracts or depletes yourself? You know when you stay up too late, or when you do things that make you feel crummy the next day. Those are behaviors you do that impact your well-being. And by tuning into and understanding the choices that we all make about our health, we actually develop a very fine sensitivity to ourselves and our environment. And this sensitivity can allow us to make new choices, different choices, that impact and potentially sustain our own health in substantial ways, whether it's the decision to stop smoking, whether it's the decision to take up a vegetarian diet. These are all ways in which we influence and impact not only our own health, but those around us as well. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But this tenet can influence all kinds of decisions we make, from behaviors that keep us well, to decisions we might make now or in the future about medical care that we want, or rehabilitation when we get sick, a whole variety of choices and behaviors that we do in our life around our health. The other way that holistic health impacts sustainability is a little more subtle, and I just mentioned it, one piece of it. If we're all connected, then everything that we do, the individual choices we make, actually potentially have an impact on people around us, on our families, our friends, and the systems that we're involved in. By making informed decisions, we actually impact others. And this is one very basic way that this happens, is that when we do something and somebody notices that, wow, that you seem to have more energy, or you seem to be stronger, that you can say, well, yes, I've been doing this. And in that way, we're passing on information. Or I saw this really good doctor, or I saw this really good naturopath, and it seems to be helping me. There's this passing of information. But there's also something more subtle, and it's, you've all noticed it, we've all experienced it, but we don't talk about it very much. Have you ever walked into a room and somebody's been really angry and you start to feel angry? Have you had that experience? Or when you walk into a room and somebody's really joyful and is excited, and you kind of get a vicarious hit off of them, it's like, wow, yeah, this is good. Or when we were just being led in the breath and you start to think about the earth breathing and something shifts. Those words had an impact on us. And when you start to live from a holistic perspective with your own health, then literally the vibrancy in your body changes. Their quality gets conveyed. It doesn't have to be talked about. It can be very subtle, but it does carry. It does affect other people around us. So this flies in the face of a crucial message that we get from the culture, especially for women, that if we take care of ourselves, if we spend time caring about ourselves, that it's somehow selfish. And I think about that thing that they tell you to do when you get on an airplane, that if you're helping somebody with an oxygen mask, to put your own on first. And literally, this way of taking care of ourselves and filling the well is what I like to think of it as, is what allows you to do work in the world that you find important. It allows you to do the things that you enjoy and to care about the people that you care about. So it's important that you take care of yourself if you're going to work and do the things that you're talking about in this class. So I'm going to be telling my own personal and professional story about my involvement with holistic health. I just want to remind you about how important stories are. They frame our experience. They help us understand and make meaning. But the meaning we make is an entirely fluid and creative. And this is going to come back. Maybe some of you have heard about people who've had cancer, say, or who have faced a very difficult illness. And what they eventually say at the end is, it wasn't fun, but I learned so much. Or I'm a better person because I had this happen to me. And it's a way of making a bigger space to take in everything that's happening. So our stories are not set in stone. And as we gain more experience and chapters, then the story's perspective grows and deepens. And that we, as the storyteller, are in charge. So I teach mindfulness-based stress reduction. I teach in Northampton, and I taught in Worcester at the Center for Mindfulness where the program arose. And what I'd like to do now with our time remaining is talk a little bit about a health issue that we can all relate to, and that has a deep impact on our health, and that we can also positively influence through our own skill and intention. So this issue is one of the leading factors involved in all the chronic diseases that we're now seeing in industrialized nations, such as obesity and heart disease and cancer, high blood pressure. So does anyone want to guess what it is? Stress. Yes, it's stress. And I'm going to lead you through this little schema about stress, and we're going to have an opportunity to experience some things about stress. But in a really simplified way, stress reactions arise from two possible events. So we experience stress from two things. Things that happen that we don't want to happen, and things that we want to happen that don't. When I was coming over here today, I was kind of stressed thinking about doing this. And so there was this actual thing that I was facing into, but there was also the mental images and things that I was also running and worrying about that weren't really real. So we could actually create a lot of stress in our own minds as we take advantage of various contemplative practices and begin to explore those. I teach present moment mindfulness, this mindfulness-based stress reduction program in Northampton, and these are photos from our website doing yoga and meditation. This one down here is walking meditation. So my main point in all this is to take is that activities that support the balance of our own internal system, our parasympathetic nervous system balancing our sympathetic nervous system, create the conditions that are sustainable. So, and then as you take part in new activities, stay alive to what sparks you, what interests you, what might be a career path even for you, what makes you feel alive.
It was interesting for me to think of how we can cope with things that come our way that we didn't expect. And this lecture was very inspiring to me. I hope you guys had a good time, and thanks again for listening.